Hey guys, Mike and Ricky, and this week we are going to be talking about Secret Invasion. I'm super excited. Hey, Michael, so how's it going?
Oh, I had a rough week. I was something sad happened, and I'm kind of
Oh,
oh
you've had a lot of rough weeks lately.
yeah, I understand it. I was driving down the highway, just kind of enjoying things, nature, and then all suddenly
Okay.
this rabbit jumps in the way of my car. I hit it
Oh
and I
no.
killed it. I know. So I get
Oh,
so I
that's
get out of
sad.
it is sad because I like animals. I'm a man,
Yeah.
one with nature. You can tell by looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get out of the car and I walk over to the rabbit and I pick it up. And I'm an emotional guy. I just start crying. And I'm thinking, man, I'm a horrible, horrible man. And then someone else driving down the highway, and I guess he sees me and he stops and he walks to me and asks what happened. And I told him, I hit the rabbit with my car and now it's dead. And
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of odd. The guy, he has his expression like he's thinking, on his face, and he was very thoughtful. And suddenly he goes back to his car and he starts rummaging around in his trunk. Eventually,
Okay.
the guy, yeah, so he walks back to me and he has this spray bottle, which is weird. And
Okay.
he has a spray bottle, and the guy sprays the rabbit with the bottle. And I'm thinking,
Oh.
what are you doing? Well, then all of a sudden, the thing returns to life again. I thought to myself, wait a minute, you sprayed the rabbit
How
with
does
this
that
bot.
work?
I know. So it started hopping away like nothing ever happened. And I was amazed. I turned to the guy and I asked, what was in the bottle? And he replied to me, it was hairspray.
Hairspray. Yeah. It's the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe.
Hey nerds, this is David with Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of our generation. There is a story, it is written on our souls, and that all of these myths speak to that story. And that is why every Tuesday I talk about Star Wars and Marvel and DC and Lord of the Rings and whatever nerdy things we can think of with my two sons, Sam and Nate. It is a 30 to 45 minute celebration of all the weirdness that we love so much. Basically, Mom said we couldn't talk about it at the kitchen table anymore, so we decided to start a podcast. We hope you'll check it out. It's on every podcast app out there. Tatooine Sons. That's Tatooine SONS.
Because it's hairspray, a rabbit's a hair, and he sprays it, and then it's hairspray.
Should have been hair restorer.
Yeah, well, that wasn't the joke. Because hair restore really, didn't not really the punchline. So basically, I talked for about 10 minutes for a joke that was really lame, but that's okay because tonight's show is not lame.
Well, we don't know that yet.
No, we don't know that yet. So, but
we are talking about Secret Invasion.
Yeah, I wasn't for sure how I was going to think about this, but we've actually saw episode 1 and 2. So,
Yes.
As far as right now, as the podcast, like I said, will be out on Friday. So, if you haven't seen it, we're going to
over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about Secret Invasion every week. So make sure you're up to date watching your episodes before you listen to the podcast, because there will be spoilers later.
Oh my goodness, you said the word. I hadn't used that one in a while, so I was really trying to bite it. I really wanted to. So anyway, so we're going to talk about Secret Invasion, and we're going to talk about the first and second episode. But first, it's time what we like to call
It's time for the nerdy happenings of the week.
You got that Barry White sound. I really like that. Anyway.
Oh my goodness. Well, there are some nerdy happenings this week, and some weird things happened. So, box office numbers this weekend were super strange.
Yeah.
Because of all things, a movie that's been out for 4 weeks already topped the box office again.
Again? That's unusual, isn't it?
Yes. So Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse wins the box office with $19 million this weekend, coming in at number one. And that puts, of all things, Elemental, which has kind of been a Disney Pixar flop, at number two for the weekend at only 18 million. And then The Flash has come in a disappointing third with only 15 million over this past weekend. So that is pretty crazy. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse did top $500 million this weekend.
Oh my goodness.
So that's the worldwide gross. So that movie is, for Sony, that is definitely a win.
Yeah, that is a win.
For The Flash, we're looking pretty disappointing. As of this recording, it hasn't crossed the 100 million mark domestically yet, and has just barely gotten over 200 million worldwide.
So what's the production? What was the production cost of it? Do you know?
What I have heard from some reports that I think are probably pretty reliable, production cost was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 million, with another 100 million spent from marketing.
Yeah,
that's a long way. Like, worldwide, they haven't even paid for the movie really yet. So I don't expect there were rumors that this was a great movie. Ezra Miller did fantastic, and we talked about it last week.
We did.
And we thought he did actually, his acting was really good, except for, one of the berries was Pauly Shore incarnate, which was super weird. But outside of that, we did actually enjoy the movie. And but with these box office numbers, I can't imagine there ever being another Ezra Miller Flash movie.
I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it. And the thing is, they're going to, they're closing that chapter and going to something else. So
they are. But James Gunn had hinted that he liked Ezra Miller's Flash, and that it was possible that he could still be in the universe.
I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah.
But I doubt it will happen at this point. And honestly, I don't know that there will be another solo Flash movie, period.
Yeah.
With that kind of response.
Yeah.
And, like we talked about last week, I don't think there was any one thing that did that movie in. I think, the Ezra Miller debacle was one part of it. I think the idea that really this movie isn't going to lead to any further DCEU events was another part of it. I'm not super up on the idea of superhero fatigue. But maybe there is some for the wider audience. But I think, the fanboys like you and me, I think we'll go see superhero movies forever.
Oh, definitely.
I don't think we'll ever get tired of them. I mean, we're going to talk about a superhero show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse is definitely the movie to see right now. So go watch it if you haven't.
I need to check it out.
So in other news, in other DC news,
DC.
Superman Legacy has found a
Mm.
Superman and a Lois
Mhm.
Lane. David Corenswet and Rachel Bro. Okay, I cannot pronounce her name. Brosnahan. Brosnahan.
Rosenhauen.
Rachel Brosnahan. Now, I mean, these are two pretty well-known actors. They've got some, decent credits under their belts. I'm not super familiar with them because I haven't watched the shows that they're in,
Yeah.
but they are well enough known that these are going to be there's some possible draw there.
Mhm.
Interesting enough, I read that um, David Corenswet is like in his mid-20s,
Hmm.
and Rachel Brosnahan is like in her early 30s.
That's what I
So
thought. Yeah.
Lois is technically much older
Older than
than
yeah.
Superman, but when you look at the two side by side, I don't know that you really
You really
notice.
can't. Yeah, I don't notice.
It's like when you have a 26-year-old playing a 17-year-old high school student.
Yeah,
We
exactly. I
all
don't.
just go with it.
I go with it all the time. That's yeah. Until
But
it's thrown out. Yeah.
yes, Superman Legacy is set to release July 11th of
Hmm.
2025. So, I mean, that's quite a ways away. Hopefully the Writers Guild thing all wraps up between
Yeah.
now and
Hopefully
then,
so.
and that won't be a big issue. I didn't tell you this before the show because I just remembered it just now. Speaking of the Writers Guild strike, recently the Screen Actors Guild, the SAG-AFTRA group,
Yeah.
the actors did vote to strike
Oh.
if the union isn't able to make a acceptable agreement with the studios. Now, and that is set to happen in just a few days, the
Oh.
end of this month. So we're recording on the 28th,
Yeah.
and so actually the day this releases, midnight that night, the day this releases, we could see the actors go on strike. But from all the reports I'm reading, SAG-AFTRA is saying that the negotiations are going very well,
That's good.
and that they are happy with some of the things that the studios are offering. So maybe if the Screen Actors Guild and can come up with you know, a decent set of
Yeah.
things, maybe the writers will be able to then come back behind that and get their stuff figured out with the studios.
Well, we hope
But
so. We hope that gets straightened out because a lot of great movies are hanging in the balance right now for their return. And I think the actors, as far as that goes, I think that has even more weight to the studios because they're, especially for, I mean, you think about it, even with scripts that are already written, if
Mhm.
actors go on strike, well, that's
Yeah,
a double
everything
whammy. That's
shuts
a double,
down if
yeah,
they go
everything
on
shuts
strike.
down. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah,
that will be interesting to see what's going to happen over the next few days. And then, last but not least, this is kind of tied in with our topic tonight.
yeah.
Secret Invasion
Hmm.
had an interesting opening credits this time,
Yeah.
something we hadn't seen before, and it used an AI generated art to create their intro. Now, a lot of artists are up in arms. A lot of production people are up in arms about this idea that AI was used to create the animated credits. But according to the studio, and this is a prepared statement that was
Hmm.
given to the Hollywood Reporter, they said that no artists' jobs were lost
Or
because
oh,
they
okay.
used AI, and
Yeah.
that the AI was simply a tool that the artists were able to use to help generate, to help make the artwork.
So, in other words,
So
no artist was harmed during the
in the making of
in the
these
making of
opening
this. Yes,
credits, exactly.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
And I use a lot of digital tools,
yeah,
and I like it when things, when the digital tools do things for me.
yeah,
So, in one way, this might just be that. Is
yeah.
this
I would
going to
think so.
simply be another digital tool in the digital artist's toolbox? Because
Yeah,
honestly, I mean, if you think about it, um, you used to hand draw everything,
yeah. Back in the day, yeah.
and then
But
we started
now,
using
yeah.
computers.
Well, I mean, let's
And
yeah. I mean, you look at Adobe After Effects; they have a bunch of plugins. A lot of these just have
that do
plugins,
things
so
automatically. Oh
automatically.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I remember moving little boxes across the screen,
hmm,
like one keyframe at a time to make it do
yeah,
exactly what I want. And now I can just draw a line and click a button, and it just follows that line exactly the way I
exactly.
want, and I don't have to do all that extra work. Is that a tool? Is that AI? Is that cheating? Was an artist harmed? Well, I wasn't harmed. It made
No,
my
you
life
weren't.
a whole lot simpler.
A lot easier.
Um,
Yes.
but yeah, there's lots of things like that. So if AI can be a tool in the toolkit of artists, I'm all
Yeah.
for it.
I'm for it too. For two. Yes, I'm for it too. And the tools. Yes, exactly.
We are tools. I think
That's
we said that
basically.
last week.
I think so too. I was thinking, yes, we are tools.
But that is all of the that's all the nerdy happenings of the week. I have well, okay, one more I almost forgot. There, you just sent me this earlier today. There is a trailer for Futurama,
Oh
the return of
yeah,
Futurama, and it looks really interesting.
really
It
good,
looks pretty good,
pretty good.
and it's definitely the storylines are going to be super up to date, and they're going to use things that have happened over the last few years in the storylines. It sounds like, which is right up Futurama's way of doing things. It looks good. It sounds like
Yeah,
all the audio, all the actors, voice actors
that's
returned.
right.
So I can't wait. And I
I
believe
can't
it
either.
says July 24th is
Yeah,
the
that's right.
release date,
Wow.
and it
Yeah,
will be on Hulu.
that's awesome,
Bite
man.
my shiny metal ass.
That's right. That's right. And also, don't forget
Tonight at 11.
Doom!
That's right.
Um,
Speaking of doom. Well, wait. Well, and that's, I guess that's our, well, let's end that.
I like the fact that I don't have to voice that every time.
Isn't that nice? Kind of
That's
nice.
it's a nice little break.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I mean, you got the first one and the second one, but then you can you're like the next
I
one
can
we're
save
going to
my
do.
voice.
Yeah.
I
For
have
the,
to do this one live. I
yeah.
should get you you should make me just pre-record all these, and we
Yeah.
should just do it so I don't have to do it. That way they'd always be perfect.
Buddy, it's always perfect when you do it.
It's the weird and stupid news with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling. Except when you get me really laughing and I
Yes.
still have to do it.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
uh,
Oh, stupid and weird news. There's a lot of that. And I don't know about you, but it looks like to me we can forget about trying to find a genie in a bottle to grant wishes. That's
okay.
right. Yeah, you can now own your very own magical cat and have all your wishes come true for only $127,000. That's
Whoa, my
right.
goodness. Wait, if I had $127,000, I could do a whole lot of things I want to do without
Without
buying a
the cat.
cat.
I was thinking too, but apparently a Russian woman recently posted a classified ad asking people to pay a small fortune for her pet cat, a Scottish foal named Vincent the First, or Vincic for short. The woman known as Alina told Russian journalists that she discovered her cat's wishes grant powers by accident. That means discovered her cat's wish. Yeah, that she's discovered her cat's wish granting powers by accident.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm tracking with you now.
I'm tracking with myself now. Here we go. But has since tested its effectiveness 3 times. So she's done it 3 times. So she now wants to.
Now, you can't do more than 3, right? So now she has to get the cat to somebody else.
See, I don't know. I don't know. They didn't mention anything.
Do you get 3 wishes every time you pet the cat?
See, that's too much detail that I don't have in this. I mean, maybe it's more than I want to know. Honestly, what do you have to do with the cat to get? I really don't.
I'll just tell you what. I've had cats. When I was a kid, we had cats.
Mm-hmm.
They do whatever they dang well please.
That's true.
And they don't go granting wishes.
No, they don't. Yeah. I mean, they don't do anything you tell them to do. So granting wishes, I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? Elena, she wants to share its magic to others. She wants to give to others. Okay. So basically magic with others, but is asking for a considerable fee. Now, I guess that considerable fee is $127,000. So I don't know how much as an award. And it says in here, as a reward of her kindness. So there you go. The woman claims that the cat was responsible for getting 2 apartments and a car for her. So,
okay.
Simply by asking the cat to grant her wish. She says the 4th wish hasn't happened yet, but she's willing to let, her cat go to help another family out.
Is her 4th wish that somebody will buy her cat for $127,000?
I bet that's what it is. I bet that's what it is. Man,
that would be my wish. And if it came true, I'd be like, yep, that cat's pretty lucky.
Well, if you've been living under a rock, well, get out of the rock. Speaking of the rock, if you haven't heard this, then I don't know where I'm going with this, but if you haven't heard this yet, then apparently you are, you're not up with the times, or you're not. I don't even know how to make a segue here. Let's think about this. The Rock, the Dwayne Johnson. Anyway, bottom line, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg cage match 2023.
I heard about this.
Anyway,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh
so
my
anyway, this much anticipated battle between the tech giants Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg took an intriguing turn with images of Musk training for an upcoming cage fight went viral. Now, so there's some Twitter images out there of Elon Musk training with Lex Friedman, who is his trainer. As well, Lex Friedman by chance trains Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh my goodness.
Interesting.
So is this a confirmed? The last I saw, Elon Musk had tweeted this idea that, all right, you're on me cage match for charity, but is it a deal? It's like really going to happen?
They're saying that they're preparing for the fight, and it said it's full swing, and they said it's stage. I think they're staging it. So I don't know as far as the date. Yes, they said, well, basically the sneak peek of Musk's training shared by Lex Friedman, who is a research. This is funny. Lex Friedman, a research scientist at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, who I guess, who was seen coaching the billionaire, quickly gained attention on Twitter. While Friedman suggested that both billionaires would be better off focusing on martial arts training rather than cage match, he also revealed that he had trained both Mark Zuckerberg and also Elon as well. He said they even shared a video showcasing of Zuckerberg's impressive jiu-jitsu skills. Now, I guess it appears that the CEO of Meta is no stranger of the world of martial arts. He's earned several medals. Yeah, he's earned several medals in different tournaments. So anyway, Zuckerberg, martial arts enthusiasm, Musk, who is a physical presence as well, and they say it's the stage is set for an epic showdown, like they did on Rocky. Have you seen the last Rocky where they kind of did a digital? What would happen between the two fighters. I have one too. Basically, this is a recreate. This is basically a prediction. So let's watch.
Okay. Let's see what your best move is.
So that was basically.
Oh my gosh! That was brilliant. That was amazing.
Yeah,
that is the best thing I've seen all week.
Oh my goodness! So that's it for stupid news.
This has been the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
So what we're talking about tonight? Remind me.
Secret Invasion.
Oh, that's right. Secret Invasion.
You
Man,
don't
what
know
a great
who your friends are.
What a great cast.
Oh my gosh.
What a great cast.
I actually really, really love everybody who's in this show.
I mean, I love Ben Mendelsohn. He is awesome. Olivia Colman is a star in this. I hope we see more of her. My God,
I hope we see more of her. I have liked her ever since the first time I saw her in Broadchurch, like, I don't know, a bunch of years ago now. Just really love her as an actress. And I was super stoked to see her coming over to Marvel.
Yeah.
I hope we see more of her in this.
I hope so.
And I hope we see more of her in Marvel in general.
Folks, we're going to start. I know if you just came on, we are talking about Secret Invasion. And if you haven't seen it yet, because we're going to, it's Friday. And I'm just going to warn you one more time because we will have spoilers. Okay, you've been warned. So, what's the deal? Maria Hill is dead?
Oh my goodness. That was a surprise.
That was a surprise to me.
Of all the things that happened, I
thought maybe
Coulson came back from Tahiti.
Yes, that's true.
So Maria Hill could come back from Tahiti.
You think?
It's a possibility.
I thought they I thought they rebunked that canon. The whole shield thing. I don't know.
I don't know. That's one of those. I'm not sure I understand what's going on. I'll be honest. In this show, I'm not sure what's going on. I made the comment earlier. You don't know who your friends are, and that's kind of the point of this. That's kind of the point. Of this.
Really.
And I'm actually happy. I have complained for years that when the first Avengers came out, that they missed an opportunity to use a real Marvel villain invasion kind of character. They, instead they created something, the Chitauri, which doesn't exist in the comics. I'm like, you already have an alien race called the Skrulls.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a perfect fit for that alien invasion kind of thing. But then when they finally did bring the Skrulls in, they were kind of the good guys and the Krees were the bad guys, which is backwards from the the comic books from like the 70s and 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm kind of happy we're getting some evil Skrulls.
Well, I am too. And it makes sense, doesn't it? But
Yes.
the way they set it up, I mean, I love the way they set it up. So and even in, episode, I mean, we're going to touch a little bit on episode 1, but like I said, we just saw 2, and it kind of, I mean, the bottom line, Fury is dealing with a lot of guilt, I guess, because he was because the thing, well, we find out in episode 1, because I don't know if we knew about it, Nick Fury was part of the blip. I mean, he
we knew that.
Well, now when
yeah, because at the end of one of the movies, he ends up texting.
Oh, that's
Captain
right,
Marvel,
and it fell. Okay,
and
okay, I got it.
And he tries to say his classic, Samuel L. Jackson line, and they cut it so that they don't get an R rating for their movie.
Yes.
Speaking of,
I remember now.
They have let his mouth go in this movie a little bit.
They have actually.
Or in this show.
They've given him some leeway here, I think. Yeah.
This may be the most cuss words I've ever heard in any Marvel movie or show so far.
Yeah.
And we've only had 2 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. It's only 2 episodes. So yeah.
No F-bombs, I don't think.
No. Oh.
But
hey, what do you think? What do you think about it? It's Everett Ross who just in the beginning, I kind of had a feeling.
I was convinced one of those 2 was a Skrull.
Yes, I was too.
I wasn't quite sure which was going to be, but it made sense that it was Everett.
Mm-hmm.
But so then the question becomes, was that just temporary Everett Ross? Or has
I was thinking
Ross been a Skrull for a long time?
I think wasn't there a place in there where they talked about didn't they mention about this being a I guess the way we use it, he's not a prime, let's put it that way. We're going back to the Flash, the prime. That they mentioned that, Everett, that was not really Everett. But the thing about it is that we saw this in episode 1, and because not only in episode 1, they didn't only just take the shape of the human individuals, they actually took their thoughts as well.
Yes.
They have these machines. So I mean, that's a different level.
Yeah, that's a whole different level. This isn't just taking your face and pretending to be you. This is capturing you, holding you prisoner, taking your mind so that you can just blend in with the world because you already know all the things that you're supposed to know.
Exactly.
And that's a little different. And I'm not sure if that is something that happened in the comic books at all. I'm interested. I don't know enough about the Skrulls to know the answer to that, but that is, it was an interesting take, I thought.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, the deal is, we wondered for a while what Fury was doing. He was on Saber. Even in the line, the president was wondering why is Nick Fury, why did you leave Saber? It's our, he mentioned how it was our, our big space defense against whatever aliens or whatever enemies we had out there, which I think is interesting because I guess we all in episode 1, we know that Nick Fury, after the blip, he's dealing with, as he put it, his faith, dealing with, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. So, but yeah, Samuel L. Jackson, I like how he's not, you can tell he's not the same Nick Fury. You can tell, and I think Samuel L. Jackson has done a good job portraying that. As we see in episode 2, he kind of takes up his mantle a little bit. You start seeing more and more of the old Nick Fury.
but you also see him worn down.
Yeah, he's tired. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
definitely tired. And we get to see that with after the visitation that after the meeting he had with Rhodey, which that was
Yeah.
interesting. That
Yeah.
it, everybody who, a fan of the War Machine, the Patriot,
Yeah.
and Don Cheadle, who is an excellent actor.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
what
And
do you think about that scene? Because
I honestly, I really loved the scene.
I did too.
It was so. I like Don Cheadle. Okay, give props to Don Cheadle. I like Don Cheadle,
Yes.
but in the past, I would not have said he can stand up with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
But in that scene,
Oh my goodness, it was so good.
oh,
I
they
mean,
were a perfect match.
yeah, they were
It
head to
was,
toe to toe.
oh yeah, and it was everything that it needed to be.
Yes.
They both had that strong presence.
Yeah.
They both, Rhodey was the strict military, calm, cool, collected, because I have been trained my entire life to be
Yeah.
calm, cool, and collected. Samuel L. Jackson is forceful, but at the same time chill, and he'll turn his rude insult into a joke, which is that's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
they were exactly who they were supposed to be, and they definitely stood toe to toe. I absolutely loved that scene.
Great scene.
Um,
A great scene.
and not to get too much the into the race side of
Hmm.
of all of this, but that definitely is part of this series,
Yeah. Yeah.
because the Skrulls are a whole different race. They're a whole
Yeah.
different animal, literally. But seeing Don Cheadle and Samuel L. Jackson kind of throw that
Yeah.
idea that help the line of "help a brother out,"
Little brother out. Yeah.
where he literally plays the race card
Yeah.
on down Don Cheadle. But then Don Cheadle kind of throws it back at him, like, you know, we should use the power that we have because we've earned this power.
Yeah.
Nobody gave us this. We didn't inherit this power. It was an
Exactly. Yeah.
interesting scene to me, in how they both acknowledge these real life issues, and they both acknowledge that
Yeah.
they are responsible for what they do with
Yeah.
everything they have. Um, but I will say, Don Cheadle's comment of, if Slovakia eye rolls me one more time, I'm going to carpet bomb them.
Carpet bomb him.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
I love that.
I want
I
to put
love
the suit
that.
on and carpet bomb.
That's
I
a
was
great
like,
line.
oh, and then for Samuel L. Jackson to basically say exactly the same
Exactly the
thing.
same thing. Yes, exactly. Why do you carpet bomb him? Yeah. Another conversation. I mean, another great scene. And like I said, I love Ben Mendelsohn. I think playing Talos. What a
Oh, absolutely.
performance! If anything, I think he really shines in this. At least for the first couple of episodes, there's so much depth to this character. The scene where they're on the train, and I love how Nick Fury talks about his story, about his going in the train with his mom, or I think it's his grandmother, and they would,
I think it was grandma.
and because of their race, they couldn't be in the same, travel
Yeah.
car, and he talks about how his grandmother and him would play a game, tell me what I don't know. And in this, you're just listening to the story, not knowing where it's actually going until he turns it around and he asks Talos, tell me something I don't know. And it just blows up there. And
Oh, yeah.
it was so good. And then in the process, he finds out there is a million Skrulls
A million Skrulls.
Earth, and he's trying to figure out, what are you doing? And I love this. I love it. He said, he said, I want you to help me bring harmony between the Skrulls and the humans. And he said, are you crazy? We can't even get along with ourselves, And I love his explanation about, are you crazy? I said, we have war and we fight among ourselves. We don't have it. You think we'll be able to, to be embrace another race? And so that was really a great scene. And there was so much packed in that you could actually dig in, because there was a bigger meaning inside of all that.
Oh yeah.
But,
lots and lots of meaning inside of these stories. And I feel like it's not, I hate the term woke, but people use it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't feel like this is trying to preach to you.
No.
It's showing you, hey, these are some realities that we all are dealing with.
Yeah.
Some of us have different realities we're dealing with as well. And I like the way they've approached it. And I think it's honest.
It is honest.
And at the same time, I think it's very well done.
Yeah. I do too. There was nothing.
I'm waiting to see the hater videos.
Oh my goodness.
Because I know there will be. I know there will be.
Yeah.
But in all reality, this is really well scripted.
I agree. I really do. And there's nothing in this, I felt like, if you want to use the woke card, because believe me, I know it when I see it. And this was not. And the writing was good. The presentation was good. Everything is a type and shadow of reality. Yeah. And I don't know. I think the presentation is really good. And Samuel L. Jackson, he just, and Don Cheadle, they just really are so good of actors. And, I can't, I wouldn't give justice if we didn't mention Olivia Colman, who is like, she is in episode 1, Fury goes to her and they talk, and, and he wants to team up with her. And he, basically said, you are no longer the man that you were. And
yeah, this is another character where I'm like, I didn't know. I really, really do like her as an actress.
I do too.
But I wasn't sure how she was going to play with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
But the character she puts on, the persona she puts on, it's definitely head to head. It's great. And I love this. I love this character even more because
I do too.
She's super hard-nosed, hardcore. Inside she's tough as nails. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, she's smiling the whole time.
She's effortless. Yes.
Yes. It's just yes. Everything is rosy and everything is amazing.
Yes.
And it's all a bit humorous to her.
Yes.
But at the same time, you absolutely know she is a killer inside.
She's in control. Yes, she
absolutely.
Is in control. And the thing is, and it's interesting because she's almost, there's sometimes I'm thinking, is she an anti-hero? In the sense, because I'm kind of wondering, because she's taking, up this point, she's taking on the baddies. Which right now is the Skrulls, the basically the rebellion. Of course, I'm sure that she finds out, there's 1 million Skrulls on Earth. I think she will, all Skrulls were bad Skrulls, but I have a feeling for that. But anyway, where she goes into a scene where she has there's some Russian, interrogators in this meat locker.
Yes.
And they can't get this guy who is a Skrull in this man's body, is transformed in this human's body, and they can't do anything. They walk out and she gets a pair of clippers, cuts the guy's hand without blinking. Oh my
gosh.
His thumb without even thinking twice.
That was so cringeworthy right there.
Yeah. And then, of course, right then she looks at the finger, and guess what? It turns into a scroll finger. So, I mean, she doesn't play around.
No.
And she's so awesome in this. I can't remember. Is she part of MI6, MI5, or something like that? Is she with the British? I can't remember
I
if
don't
this was.
recall exactly what her position is, but
Yes.
I gather she is with some form of British intelligence.
Now, what's interesting is, in one of the biggest things is when we see Gravik walks to the council. You know, he storms into the council of of the scrolls. And when you walk in, they're in human form. You see a senator which played by Christopher McDonald, which
Mm-hmm.
I like him. You have I'm trying to think of who else is.
Let's see.
One played the prime minister of the prime minister, and I don't know her. I don't see her on the casting list. And then there was another individual who played the Secretary General of NATO, and then there was a couple other people in there. And and my thought, where I was going with here, is the Prime Minister of the UK, which I don't know if they replaced the bodies or they just, Secret Invasion, they just came in like sleeper cells, basically.
That is a question I have.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused. Sometimes I'm like, oh, absolutely, these are the bad guys. They have somebody captured. They've taken over their position.
Yeah.
But the other question I have is, or is this just someone who has taken on a persona
Yeah.
and then has risen through the ranks?
Yeah, that's what I wonder. Yeah.
I'm a little unsure of that. So I'm not sure how many of those people have simply stepped into an existing power position and how many have come to a position of power.
When the beginning of episode 2, it's a flashback to 1995. It's the beginning of, I guess, if you've seen the movie Captain Marvel, it coincides with that. And we wonder, and from episode 1, there's a lot of hate from Garrick towards, Nick Fury. You kind of wonder why. I mean, because he was gone for a while and he made this promise, and he just was gone. He just disappeared.
Well, and honestly, before we go too far into Garrick, we have to say something about the actor here. I'm trying to find his name.
Are we talking about?
I can't find his name. Where is his
you're
name?
talking about Kingsley. Are we talking about the actor? Yeah, Kingsley
Benadir.
Benadir, yes.
Amazing actor.
He is good.
This is probably one of the best casts I've seen in any Marvel production.
I do. I know. I mean, Emily Clark is awesome in this. She plays Gia, which is basically the daughter. Gia, and I don't know, Geo Prius, I don't know. But anyway, Emily Clark is awesome in this. Of course, her character plays the daughter of Talos, and also her mother, who was killed by the very organization she serves.
And she's not aware of it.
Sarah?
So, yes.
No, she is aware of it. Because
she is now.
She is now.
She was not aware that her mother had died until she didn't know her mother had died at all.
No, until they had a meeting.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
And that was something I heard instantly when she and her father met.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, your mother always, or used to, he said something, and it was definitely past tense.
In the past tense, yeah.
And then her reply is, mother always, in a present tense description.
Yeah.
It was obvious instantly that the daughter did not know her mother had passed away. And that I'm convinced that will be the key to this whole show.
Yeah, I agree.
That relationship, that her mother has died, will be the undoing of whatever, however this plays out. She
Mm-hmm.
will be the key to making this all happen. As good an actor as everyone else is,
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like she's going to be the linchpin that is the, whatever is going to happen, it's going to all revolve around her.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah, so yeah, I do. I think she's. You can tell even up to from episode one, you can tell her character is really conflicted. She's seeing, especially in
Mm-hmm.
two, where she sees some cruelty in the man that was her fellow, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Skrull was, which was name was Brogan, that was being interrogated by, was interrogated by Olivia Colman. Basically he was driven out to nowhere and shot by his own people.
Yep.
And she sees the cruelty there. And I think you can see without her saying anything where she's conflicted and she's
Yep.
thinking, this is kind of almost like, and she hadn't said it, but is this the cause that I was fighting for? Is this,
Yes.
was this what I signed up to be in? And I
Mm-hmm.
think as she sees more cruelty, and I think what might happen is, she's really kind of mothered hen over, I think his name is Beto, who
Yes.
is the
new recruit.
young new recruit. And in my prediction, something's going to happen to him and she's going to
Yeah.
snap. I think something's
I
going
can
to
see
happen
that.
to him. I can see that. So I may be wrong, but that's you kind of see that where she's just kind of mothering him and, has a lot of
Mm-hmm.
compassion to him and something's going to happen where he's just going to be seen as a casualty for the cause. So.
Right. Now, I do think that one of the things I thought was interesting, and we started talking about this earlier, and I didn't
Yeah.
get to mention it. When Nick Fury tells Talos, "Tell me something I don't know,"
Yeah.
and he says, "There's a million of us."
Yeah.
I had simply assumed Nick Fury was aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until his reaction, it had never occurred to me that there were a lot more than he knew about.
Yeah.
I just assumed however many there were
Yeah.
is how many he knew about.
Yeah.
So that realization, that revelation was an interesting twist
Yeah.
for me. I
Yeah, it
was
was for me
surprised.
too.
And
I mean, there was a
so
lot of
I'm wondering
emotion.
how many other people don't know that there are as many as there are.
I'm sure
Like
that.
Olivia Colman, does she realize that there is a million of them?
Well, I mean, Rhodey, he knows that they're there, because in the conversations that they had, I don't know if he realizes there are a million of them, but he does. They do make a comment, about him knowing about it. And in that conversation back, he tries to. It was one of the scenes where Fury tells Rhodey when they're in that restaurant, how much do you trust your men?
I really thought one of them was going to come
I
out
did
as
too.
a Skrull.
I did too.
But the one guy isn't, because Nick Fury literally manhandled them.
Yeah, basically.
And that's kind of, for those who aren't super up on this whole thing, if you haven't gathered, the Skrulls are all really, really strong.
Yes, they are.
They are many times stronger than any human.
To the point that they resistant to radiation, so that's why their home base is in one of the Chernobyl type of reactors that's in Russia. So, humans can't inhabit there, but they can. So that was I didn't realize that, but that's interesting.
That was a new idea for me
I
as
didn't have a clue about that.
But it makes sense for that to be a way they can hide in bulk.
What do you think about the de-aging in this? How did it look to you? Compare to the actual Captain Marvel.
So I gotta tell you,
okay,
the early part of episode 2 where they had some de-aging, that wasn't just playing back parts of Captain Marvel, because that
Yes.
very first part was just playing back Captain Marvel.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was watching on my phone, so I couldn't really tell.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I wasn't watching on a screen big enough to really say this was good or not good. How did you feel about it?
I thought it was better than what we saw in
Okay.
Captain Marvel.
Okay, good.
I do. So it
And
almost
Captain Marvel wasn't bad.
no, it wasn't bad. Like I said, it wasn't bad. I didn't think so. I just thought I thought it improved. So
Good.
it really, and it didn't take me out of it.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
for me anyway, it didn't take me out of it. I know that you kind of zero on more of that than I do, but for me, I do
Yeah.
pick up on some things, but for me, not so much. I thought it was fine.
I was gonna say the other thing I will say I did notice their transformations from one to the other, from
Mm-hmm.
humanoid to from human to Skrull,
Mm-hmm.
it looks pretty solid every
Yeah.
time I've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm a little unsure as to whether or not their Skrull self is makeup or full CG. I'm unaware. I'm not sure. if it's full CG, it really looks good.
Oh
Like
my
every
goodness.
time.
Yes. Yeah.
If it's makeup and the CG is just the transition point,
Transition part.
then it still works well.
Yeah, I think so
I'm just
too.
not sure what the answer. I'm not sure what the
Yeah.
answer to that
No.
question
No.
is.
Exactly.
I'd
Yeah.
have to do a little more research, maybe see a behind the scenes.
Yeah. Exactly. It was interesting. It wasn't a conversation with Rhodey. A couple of times you hear in season 2, what will happen if the Avengers find out? And so, but we know that Garrick is trying to create some almost like a super serum soldier type of
Well,
thing for the
I was going
scrolls.
to say, we are definitely going down the road of Super Skrull, which
Yes.
is a thing in the comics.
Yeah.
And generally, Super Skrull, from what I recall back in the 70s, 80s, Super Skrull generally was a big enemy of the Fantastic Four.
Hmm. Okay.
And he literally took on their powers. So he would have one arm that was flaming and one arm that was full of rocks, and
Mm-hmm.
he could stretch and he could turn invisible, and so he had all the powers of the Fantastic Four. So I'm a little interested to see how that plays out. Are we going to have just a Super Skrull in the end, or are we going to have a Super Skrull army?
Yeah.
Or are we going to see it stop before we get a Super Skrull? I kind of want there to be one.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't want an army of Super Skrulls,
No,
because if there's an army of Super Skrulls, we're going to have to wipe them out. If there's
exactly.
one Super Skrull, he can escape and come back and be a bad guy later on in some other film.
Yeah. Yeah. Earlier, and this is kind of going back because there's the which one was it, 95 or was it 97? This is Rick Fury making a promise, talking, Talos is,
Oh, yeah. I
basically
think it was
telling him
97.
97, and he basically is giving, Talos giving his approval to Nick Fury and convincing, his people that you can trust him. And but the condition was for them to, while he's gone, looking for a home for them, and he mentions Captain Marvel as well, Carol Danvers, and they, to stay and protect the Earth. Now, I'm not for sure how they go about protecting the Earth. I mean, I know Talos and his wife, and I can't remember her name. Talos,
Talos' wife is... I'm not going to remember it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm not either. So, I mean, I guess at this time they were there helping in disguise. I'm just there was some component that they had to do or they were doing to help humanity kind of while he was gone.
Well,
Anyway.
okay, so this idea actually plays into, I don't remember which movie it is. Maybe Spider-Man Welcome Home,
Yeah, because they both had the image.
Homecoming.
Yeah, they had the
Because
image of
at
Maria.
one
Yeah,
time, at one time, Nick Fury and Maria Hill were not on Earth, and Skrulls were protecting the Earth by being them.
being them. Okay,
So
that's
yeah,
correct. I
so
remember that now.
I think that's what that is all about.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember that scene now. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just I liked it. I think I've I enjoy it. I think the writing is really good. I love the actors and the actresses. Really good cast. I mean, the thing is, you can watch both. Well, you can watch both episodes again and find things that you didn't see before. I mean, there's so
Oh yeah,
much, and it's not in a bad way. A lot of times they try to pack so much in, it's a mess. But it how they did it, it works as far as I'm
yeah,
concerned. You know,
absolutely. And I will say, I didn't. I mean, there were some Easter eggs,
hmm
but I didn't see any like just blatant Easter eggs for Easter eggs' sake.
yeah,
Like, you mentioned the super serum, the super soldier serum.
yeah,
She looks on the computer and she sees some alien names. Well,
yes,
they're all
yeah,
real big bads or real strong. Like, there's a Groot is
agreed.
listed,
Yeah,
and I can't remember who else was listed, but then Extremis is one of the
yeah,
things that's listed. So there are all these creatures that have a lot more strength than any human or any Skrull would have.
yeah,
So it's interesting that that's where the research is going. So that was a nice Easter egg, but that Easter egg is legitimately tied into the storyline.
yeah.
But I didn't feel like there were any crazy Easter eggs just for Easter eggs' sake, which I kind of liked.
So my next question observation, what's going to happen next? We know that Talos and Fury has just parted because of Nick Fury's just anger that Talos allowed, all these scrolls, millions of scrolls to come on Earth. And of course Talos, he is, what was mentioned to him in episode 1, his weakness is mercy. And he
Yeah.
his people needed a place. They they
Mm-hmm.
needed safety. So, and Talos made a good point that you were gone. We couldn't, you were gone. But I thought was interesting too was Nick Fury told him and said, you knew how to get hold of me.
Yeah.
And so maybe this was Talos's intention of, you know we waited long enough. We need to bring people in.
Yeah. So
I
that
don't
is an
think,
interesting idea that they felt abandoned. Now,
yeah,
this is something I do think is interesting.
yeah,
You talked about, Talos's his one flaw is mercy,
hmm
that he's too kind.
yeah,
Uh, he says he sent the message out to
yeah,
bring a million scrolls there.
yeah,
So he is the reason there are a million scrolls on Earth,
hmm
not the bad guy.
no, it's him.
Talos is the reason. The good
Yeah,
guy is the
good
reason
guy.
they're there. Um, so that's an interesting idea that has to
hmm
play into all this. And I mean, he has to take some guilt upon himself
hmm
that he's the reason that the bad guys are there.
hmm
His daughter is one of the bad guys, so he's got to feel a little guilt about that.
hmm
So Talos has got to be struggling right now, and Nick Fury just basically kicked him out of the train.
yeah,
So I don't see Talos turning, heel and being a bad guy
I don't think so
because of
either.
any of this.
No.
But I I'm not sure Talos is going to make it out of this series.
Hmm. Well, I mean, Maria Hill. I mean,
As much as I like the
I like
actor,
him too.
I'm not sure he's going to make it out of this series.
Well, I mean, they take
Especially
a.
with he literally just asked his daughter to set up a meeting with him and the
Actually,
and,
no, it was. I don't know who that lady was.
oh
It wasn't. No, it was.
I
It
thought
was
he was
not.
talking to his daughter
No,
to
he was
set up the
talking
meeting
to
with.
the. Because remember, there was a lady, and I can't remember her name. She
Oh,
was
no,
part of
no!
the
Oh, you're right. You're
council,
right. She's
and
part of the council. You're
but
right.
she was one that voted against it, and
Yeah,
so she wasn't going to be a
and she
part of
warned
it.
him that he'll die if they meet.
Yeah,
If he
and
meets with the big bad here. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out.
yeah,
That could be another thing that pushes
Fury to the
Gaia
point. Yeah.
over the edge.
Oh, Gaia too. Yeah, especially
If
Gaia.
Gaia is there and sees Gravik kill her father.
Okay, well, let's see here. Ben Mendelsohn, they say he's in for 6 episodes. So let's see. So
Well, you know how
I
that
say,
works.
well, I know it's
You and I
Marvel.
both know that
Let's see.
is so not accurate ever.
Yeah, I know. No, not when Marvel's involved. No, involved.
As much as I would love it to be accurate.
Well, I mean, Maria Hill shows that she's on for 6 episodes. Okay, so Kobe's.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say
shoulders.
she was only in this episode showing her dead.
Her death. Yes. So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
I don't know how accurate that is. Now, some of them, like Rhodey, is only supposed to appear in 2 episodes according to
that's
IMDb.
yeah, yeah.
Now,
That's what I
Rhodey's
see
only
here.
was Rhodey in the first episode?
Yes.
He was?
In the first episode, he was walking with the president, giving him a briefing on what happened with Maria Hill and
That wasn't
Nick
the
Fury.
second episode?
No, that was the first one.
Hmm.
Yeah, because they found out that Nick Fury left Saber,
Okay.
and then they couldn't. And they both Maria Hill. They couldn't. Rhodey could not find them. They were in the dark as far as communications go. So,
All right. So yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So you're right.
So,
But Beto also says he's only supposed to be in 2 episodes. And
well,
I
that's
don't
true,
believe that.
too. I don't believe that either. I don't believe that as all. So I don't know. I had I'm trying to think of, I had something else that was top of my head, and more than likely after the podcast, it will come to my mind. But
Well, we were talking about whether or not Talos was going to survive.
That's true. Yes.
And if his death
right.
was going to push Gaia over the edge, which I kind of feel like that's where we're headed.
I do too. I think that's in the direction. Oh, the reference to the Avengers. It was twice. And the second one, when Rhodey was talking, he said, "Well, how about the Avengers?" And Nick Fury said, "No, this is mine. This is mine war. To take my war." And I couldn't follow. He also, his excuse was he didn't want the Avengers to come because somehow they would return.
Okay, so what he said was the Skrulls would just imitate them, and then all the Avengers would be tagged as terrorists, which is interesting because half the Avengers were tagged as terrorists.
Yes, exactly.
From the Civil War. So I think that's kind of a callback to that. But also and this is one of those where I never read all of this comic series, the original Secret Wars, the original Secret Invasion. Sorry, if I say Secret Wars, that's something different.
Yes.
So Secret Invasion. But I believe in Secret Invasion, they did take the place of some of the Avengers.
Okay.
So I believe that's probably a reference to the comics that kind of gives hey, this is what happened in the comics. That's not what we're going to do here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like that's a good move.
I do too. I do too. I really like the idea of these. I want to call this just ordinary people, and
Yeah.
in the sense, I mean, they're not,
Yeah.
mutated humans or
Yes.
anything like that. So
They're not hyped up on super serum, and they're not,
exactly,
I think I think it's a good move for the series.
I do too.
I will say I did read an article that said in the first week, episode 1 had been watched less than 1 million times, which, according to that source, is the lowest showing for any Marvel streaming series ever.
That's sad.
That is sad, especially since I feel like this is probably the
Probably
best
one of
one
the best.
so
Yeah,
far.
I think
I
people.
mean, and I really, really liked WandaVision.
I do
I think
too.
this is better.
I agree with you. Up to this point, I agree with you, and I think it's sad because, I mean, these are. I don't know. People are hoping to have Doctor Strange show up or something. I mean, I don't understand this.
I
This
will
is
say, I am sure part of the, I don't know, maybe part of the disinterest is this one doesn't feel mainstream.
oh, see, that's what I was thinking too.
So we're going to get lots of hardcore comic book nerd
Yeah,
readers will
yeah,
watch this,
yeah.
but my wife won't. you
But
know
it's so good. I
but
mean, even on the
so
surface of
good.
what it is, I mean,
It is so good, and it is a little sad. And I made the comment on Twitter to somebody who was asking the question, and I said, well, it's not the mainstream people. There's no Captain America,
yeah.
whether it's Captain Falcon Captain America or Chris Evans Captain America. There's no Captain America. There's
You
no
can't
Iron
sell
Man.
action figures. I mean, basically, you can't sell action figure of Everett Ross. I mean, your Everett Ross action
Oh my
figure.
gosh, I would
I
take an Everett
mean,
Ross action figure.
I would too. So
Put it right next to the version, the Hobbit of
the
him.
Hobbit, yes, and then Doctor Strange as Sherlock.
Yeah, but I am with you on, if the mass market Marvel fans want to see the big heroes,
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to see any big heroes.
no, I don't think so.
Honestly, I hope we don't even see
I agree with
one
you.
of the
I don't.
Thunderbolts showing up. I don't want to see
I don't want that.
Nomad suddenly show up, or
Yeah.
whatever they call him, whatever we're choosing to call Captain, not Captain America guy,
Oh
U.S.
yes,
agent.
U.S.
I
agent.
don't even want him to show up.
Yeah,
But I think this is, I do. I want it to be Nick Fury's battle. I
yeah.
want it to be Skrull versus Skrull,
Mm-hmm.
and normal humans that are highly trained against
Mm-hmm.
Skrulls.
Yeah,
Even when we have the Super Skrull,
yeah. I
I
mean,
want I want the Super Skrull to show up, and I want Olivia Colman to inject him with something that like blows him up.
well, there's an entire series, The Shield, that was like that too. I mean, if you think about
Mm.
it, there was some
Yeah,
metahuman stuff,
yeah,
in that, but uh, for the most part, you had a lot of supporting roles in there. You had Coulson and just different other people that you really didn't know about. I mean, the biggest star that came in was, Samuel L. Jackson, who played Nick Fury in a couple of the episodes of Shield.
yeah,
So, I mean, I don't know. And of course, I loved Shield. So anyway, but in this, I do think so far, and at least for the two episodes that I've seen, honestly, I really put this above what I've seen
yeah,
already in the catalog of TV series, or what's streamed
yeah.
on Disney Plus.
For the Marvel Disney Plus
Yes,
streaming series, so far this is number one.
yeah,
I hope they don't screw it up.
I know
But
people are going to
with the
argue with me or
trajectory
argue
they
with
have,
us, but
oh,
yeah,
absolutely, they're going to argue with us because that's
yeah,
what people do on the internet.
exactly.
But yeah, absolutely. So far, this is number one. If they don't screw it up, which I hope they don't, and I
No,
really
no,
feel like they're
yeah,
not going to, I think this will stay number one for me.
I think so.
It's
Yeah,
definitely above the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
yes,
It's definitely above WandaVision. This is probably above some of the movies.
yeah. I believe I agree. This would
It's
have
probably
been this would have made a great movie too if you think about it. This would have been an awesome movie.
it would have, but we would have had a 2.5 hour movie
Yeah.
rather than 4.5 or 5 hours, which is what we'll get.
Yes.
We'll get like
Yeah.
4 hours, and I think episodes are around 45 minutes,
Yeah. Seems so. Yeah.
without credits. So
Hmm.
we're gonna get like 4.5, 4 hours and 45 minutes, something right in there.
Well, we've talked about this before. When we talked about these streaming, series and like WandaVision, it's like you have to treat these episodes as part. Think of it as a very long movie. Watch it from the
Yes,
beginning and end.
absolutely.
And I think you can't judge it by per episode. You have to see it as a whole because
Yeah,
things start to make sense and you have a better feeling. And I think that's the problem. And I think that's
yeah,
part of the thing too. When people used to binge watch, they could just see the whole thing. It was almost like watching a movie because they go
yeah,
one episode after the other. Now that we've kind of gotten back to what streaming services wanting to, string along, the
yeah,
customer, now we're doing a once a week type of thing. And you get back to again people having this network TV mentality of this
yeah.
episode and this episode, and they're not seeing as a entire story arc. And
Right.
I think that's the problem. I'm
Yeah,
hoping like you that they do this thing right, because when it's done, you'll have a bookend to bookend a 4 hour movie.
yeah,
And I don't know. So far, I'm pleased with it. Again, this is only episode 2. And of course,
yep.
next week we're going to talk about episode 3.
So
And
make sure you
again,
watch it.
make sure you watch us. Again, you can find all our stuff at speakingnerdy.com. We also are, there we have our YouTube channel, which is YouTube/Speaking Nerdy. Also, we have all our audio podcasts. It's also as well on the website, but you can go to Spotify, you can go to Apple. I mean, we're
Yep.
all over the place.
Any
So
streaming
just,
service, we're there.
yeah, Speaking Nerdy. So check us out on our audio podcast as well. So, but no, I didn't know what to expect. I was looking forward to this because I wanted some type of, it's kind of a Marvel James Bond kind of thing.
Yeah.
Bourne, kind of a Jason Bourne kind of thing. And
Yep.
I love to see, I'm happy to see Samuel L. Jackson back doing what he
Yes.
does. And so I look forward to next week. And I hope you guys look
Absolutely. Me
forward to
too.
next week too. Make sure in the comments, let us know what you think. Even from
If
the,
you love it or you
yeah,
hate it, let us
yeah,
know
let
down
us
in the
know.
comments.
It's
We would
okay.
love to hear from you.
I would love to hear from you. Give us reasons why and just have fun with the comments and just let us know what you think. I don't have anything else. Do you, my friend, Mr. Ricky?
I don't really. I'm just looking forward to next week.
All right. It's been a good evening, good time. Thank you for watching. And it's time to play that funky music, White Boy.
This has been the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe. Pretty good. I really like it. It was a good series.
I'm digging it, man.
Digging it too. It's some good stuff. Good stuff.